Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the fifth meeting of the Interim Joint Committee on Tourism, Small Business, and Information Technology. Welcome, everybody. Also, for those in the audience and those also on the committee, if you have a cell phone, if you would just please turn that to silence or vibrate as we conduct our business today. That would be greatly appreciated, and it's great to see the turnout that we have today for today's meeting. Sasha, if you would, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell, Senator Funky Fromeyer, Senator Gardler, Senator Harper Angel, Senator Howell, Senator Mills, Senator Storm, Senator Thomas, Senator Wheeler, Senator Wilson, Representative All, Representative Baker, Representative Dotson, Representative Pfister, Representative Frazier Gordon, Representative Freeland, Representative Fugit,
Here.
Representative Heath,
Here.
Representative Kulkarni,
Present.
Representative Lawrence, Representative Maddox,
Here.
Representative Massaroni,
Here.
Representative McPherson,
Here.
Representative Pollock,
Here.
Representative Roberts,
Here.
Representative Stalker,
Present.
Representative Tackett Lafferty,
Present.
Representative Tate, Representative Timoney, Representative Truitt, Representative Wesley, Representative White, Representative Wilson, Representative Witten,
Here.
Co-Chair Wise,
Present.
Co-Chair King,
Present.
Co-Chair Pratt.
Present.
We do have a quorum and duly constituted to do business today. Before we begin, I know there was a statement made out yesterday on behalf of the Kentucky General Assembly on the passing of Senator Johnny Turner. Just ask that we continue to keep the Turner family, his district, his constituents, and also the Mountain Caucus members in your thoughts and prayers as we go forward, especially with the session as it lies ahead. Senator Turner meant a lot serving both in the House and with the Senate, and just would greatly appreciate everyone's prayers of condolences and peace and strength to the families involved. Thank you all. We do need an approval of last month's motion made. Second, on behalf of the September minutes. All those in favor, please do so by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We do have a couple of items on the agenda for today. Very excited to present in front of us is Awesome Inc. The topic is on building the entrepreneurial community in Kentucky. If those three members from Awesome Inc. will make their way to the table. Brian, I know this is the first time you and your colleagues have presented in front of us, so you have three microphones there. If you'll pull those directly in front of you all, and there's a button towards the bottom middle that says push. When you hit that button, a green light will appear. That'll show that your microphone is on and it's present. So if you three would just identify yourselves first for the record, and then you can proceed.
Yes, Brian Rainey.
I'm Mackenzie Haynes.
And Emily Worley.
Perfect. Thank you all. Whoever wishes to go first with the presentation, we have it ready to go. You may proceed.
Perfect. Thank you, Senator Wise. Not only our first time presenting, but one of my first times wearing a suit this year, so I appreciate you guys letting me get this out of my closet. I'm Brian. I'm from Northern Kentucky. I'm one of the founders of Awesome Inc., which is what we're here to talk to you guys today about. I may or may not have been on the CBS show Survivor. I'll let you guys look that up. I love to surf, love to snowboard, probably have the largest collection of surfboards of any resident of the state of Kentucky, although I haven't verified that. I would put money on it. And I also found a way to become a dad and a grandpa on the same day. You guys can ask me about that later, and I'll tell you the story behind it.
I'm Emily Worley. I'm originally from Central Florida, but I do call Kentucky home now. I've been up here almost as long as I was residing in Florida, so it is definitely my home now. I am the director of operations at Awesome Inc. I've been with the company for 9 years. I played college volleyball at a small school at Asbury here, close to Frankfort. And anything that has to do with the water and being outside with my family is something that I enjoy doing. So.
And again, my name is Mackenzie Haynes. I am originally from Mayfield, Kentucky, and I am currently a resident here in Frankfort. So I've probably seen some of you all out and about whenever you're here for session. I am a triple degree chaser from University of Louisville, and I'm currently working on my PhD there right now. Also an executive bourbon steward. So if you guys are hanging out down at Serafini's, I've probably seen you there and had a conversation with Carlos just like you did. And I got to have the opportunity in this upcoming year to be the partnership manager for the work that we are doing with the Cabinet for Economic Development.
Fantastic. Members, the presentation is in your folders, but Brian, whoever wishes to proceed,
Sure.
go right ahead.
Thank you, Emily. So we want to tell you today a little bit about what Awesome Inc. does, but before we jump into what we do, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why it is that we do what we do, and also how we do the work that we do at Awesome Inc. And it starts with the story about an individual that you guys see on the screen there, Dr. Lee Todd. You guys probably all know this, but he was the former president at the University of Kentucky. He was the residing president while I was at the University of Kentucky, studying computer science. And he taught me a lot of very important principles about entrepreneurship in just one short meeting that I had with him. That was the first interaction that I had with him, was while I was a senior at the University of Kentucky, about to graduate. I landed a meeting with President Todd. Took me a lot of effort to get this meeting. Literally met with his secretary almost daily for about a year to try to get on his calendar, and managed to score a meeting with President Todd at the end of my senior year. And in that meeting, he taught me about this concept of realistic worst case scenario. Now, as an entrepreneur, or an aspiring entrepreneur at the time, there was a lot of fear that came with that path. And while I was meeting with Lee Todd, kind of discussing my options, I had options to go get a job as a computer science graduate. There were plenty of job opportunities for me that were well-paying jobs. They had lots of benefits, very stable path down that route. But what I wanted to do was to try to start my own software company. So that was what I wanted to talk to Dr. Todd about that day. And he pretty much about halfway through the meeting, he just stops me and he's like, Brian, if what you're passionate about, if what you really want to be doing is this entrepreneurship stuff and starting your own company, then just go do it. Just go try it for a year, try it for 2 years. Like, the worst that happens, realistically, the worst thing that's going to happen is that you might fail at running that company for a year or two, and then all those computer science jobs that you were about to get today, they're still going to be there, and you can go on and do that. And so, like, worst case scenarios, you got to do what you were passionate about for a year or two, and then you just picked up your career as a computer programmer. So that really put things into perspective for me, and literally left that meeting and decided that was what I was going to do, was go start my own software company. And I think Dr. Todd, he does a really good job of challenging people to choose a challenging path over just a comfortable path. And that's what he did for me and my business partners as we continued to work on our software company. He kind of puts this as what's called an Arby's decision. So what the story behind this is that Dr. Todd, when he was a professor at UK, so long before he was the president, he had to face a decision of, do I want to go start my own company or do I want to stay at UK as a professor? So he walks across the street to Arby's. It's no longer there, but it used to be right on Limestone. And he sat down in one of the booths at Arby's, and he just said he just felt like this was his moment and he had to make this decision. It was as if God was telling him, like, you need to go for this. You need to take a risk. It's not going to be easy. It is going to be challenging. There's many other comfortable paths that you can take, but he felt that he needed to take that challenge, and it worked out great for him. He ended up selling 2 companies, one to IBM and one to Hughes Aircraft, and then later became the president of the university that he was the professor for when he made that Arby's decision. So having permission to try and to fail is something that we really want to push people towards at Awesome Inc. This is a little bit of kind of the timeline of how we got to starting Awesome Inc. So I started this company, bookexchange.com, in 2003 while I was at the University of Kentucky. That company was a massive failure, made no money, spent thousands of hours not succeeding at that company. A few years later, started Apex Software, and that was the company that Lee Todd kind of encouraged me and my business partners to start. And through starting that company, we realized that there was a large gap in the entrepreneurial community across the state of Kentucky. There weren't a ton of resources for entrepreneurs. There weren't a whole lot of opportunities to kind of get engaged with other entrepreneurs. There just wasn't much of a community around entrepreneurship in Kentucky. So 2 years later, we decided we wanted to do pretty much what Lee Todd did for us. We wanted to do that for many other people that were in our position and be able to do that for masses across the state of Kentucky. So that's why we started Awesome Inc., was to be able to give permission to people so that they could try and potentially even fail at whatever it is that their dreams are. So one story I want to tell you guys about an entrepreneur that we've worked with. His name is Tony Schmidt. So Tony was a student at UK, and he actually worked for me for this book exchange project. After that failed, he came and worked for me at the software company, Apex Software. And while he was working for Apex, he kind of caught the entrepreneurial bug, and he wanted to start his own company. It's a company called Greek Track. They provide kind of a content management system for fraternities and sororities and other organizations of the likes. So he started this company a little bit after working for Apex Software, and he did it in a way where he was able to kind of mitigate his risks and managed his fears of failure pretty well. What he did was he started with a few universities in this area, but he didn't grow it to be a big enough company to where he could do it full time yet. And instead he went and he worked for Microsoft in Seattle upon graduation. So while working at Microsoft, he continued to work on his Greek Track company. And until that company got to be large enough to where it could replace his salary at Microsoft, that was when he quit his job at Microsoft. He actually moved back to Lexington, Kentucky, and is now working full-time on his Greek Track company, which he started around 2009. So I tell you that story because I think that illustrates a pretty solid path for an entrepreneur to take. You can go to the next slide, about how they would mitigate risks. And this is something that we teach a lot of our entrepreneurs to do, because we don't want to, we will not ever say that there is not risk or there is not a lot of fears that are associated with entrepreneurship. We want to acknowledge that. We want to help people mitigate those risks, though. And there's this concept that we teach people called firing bullets versus firing cannonballs. Tony did a good job of that. He fired some bullets at some different universities. He went and got a job to kind of pay his bills. And once he got to a certain point with his business, he was able to quit his full-time job and work full-time on this business. This is a story of how we did not do a very good job on this. So this is a project that me and a few of my friends worked on. You might recall a UK basketball player, Terrence Jones, who played for the University of Kentucky. So when he came back for his sophomore season at UK, a lot of hype around that, we had this genius idea where we were going to create these T-shirts, and they were going to say, "We've got a basketball Jones." And we were just so sure that we were going to sell thousands of these T-shirts. We were so confident in that we went ahead and bought thousands of these T-shirts so that we could sell them to the UK fan base. It turns out we were wrong, and we sold not even 100 of these T-shirts. So we then were stuck with an inventory with all these boxes of these Basketball Jones T-shirts in the garage at Awesome Inc. And what we wish that we had done was maybe bought 50 of these T-shirts at first and then sold those. And if that worked, then maybe we would buy another 100 or so and sell those. And then eventually we might buy 1,000 T-shirts at a time, knowing that we were going to be able to hit the target with this idea and be able to sell a lot of these T-shirts. So what we did wrong was we fired a cannonball, and we missed the target with a cannonball. That's very expensive to do. What we teach our entrepreneurs to do, and a concept that is very, very important in entrepreneurship, is to fire bullets first until you hit the target. And after that, you can add more gunpowder once you've hit the target, and you can start firing cannonballs. But you don't want to start off by firing cannonballs and wasting all of your gunpowder, like we did with this Basketball Jones T-shirt idea. So that is a lot of what we teach entrepreneurs about, is just these principles around entrepreneurship. One other thing that we teach them is about our core values at Awesome Inc. So we have 4 core values: be good, be excellent, be a friend, and be you. And everything that we do starts with these core values. So every hire that we make, every event that we host, every program that we launch, we operate with these 4 core values front and center, and it is critical to just our why and our purpose at Awesome Inc. We often joke about it, but if we were to shut down Awesome Inc. and open up a pizza shop across the street, we'd take these 4 core values and we'd put the posters up on the wall of our pizza shop, and they'd be at the front of our pizza shop entrance, just like they're at the front of the entrance to Awesome Inc. But we want to make sure that everybody on our team and everybody that we work with understands that these 4 core values are guiding what we're doing and how we do it. So that's a little bit about why we started Awesome Inc. And how we do what we do at Awesome Inc. I'm going to pass it over to Emily, and she's going to tell you more about what we do.
Yeah, so if you have never heard of Awesome Inc., or maybe you have and you're still not exactly sure what we do, it can be confusing. And so in the past 15 years of our existence, we've cleaned that up and tried to make it very clear what we do in the walls of Awesome Inc. So this is the graphic that you see in front of you and that I'll walk you through. But if you forget anything today, just remember that Awesome Inc. is everything about the creation and the education of technology and entrepreneurship. So that is our sweet spot. That is what we feel we are called to do to help Kentucky be a better place. And so this grid helps explain it. So the creation of technology is APAC software. As Brian mentioned, that was actually started before Awesome Inc., but that is the creation of technology. So it's we build custom software for a lot of companies in Kentucky, but also nationwide. The education of technology is our coding school called Awesome Inc. U. We have programming for youth and adults to either change their career or just to get their feet wet by learning how to code. So whether it's in the building of Awesome Inc. or in the schools out in the state of Kentucky, we help those individuals learn how to code. The creation of entrepreneurship is our co-working space. So if you've been to downtown Lexington, we have a physical building, and that's kind of what we call home. And it has about 23 companies that work out of the space, including our team. And a lot of those people are the entrepreneurs that we're helping and just other community builders around that need a place to work. And that kind of brings everybody together. So we're all in one spot. And then the education of entrepreneurship is our flagship accelerator program, which is called the Fellowship Program. And this is a mentor-driven one-year program that helps Excel companies to grow quickly. So we've been doing this program since 2013, and we take 8 companies a year into that program. Just a couple other supporting programs that are worth mentioning. The Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame is something that we're really proud of that started in 2010. This is a one time of year event where 3 to 4 inductees will get added into the Hall of Fame. And these are celebrating some of the most successful entrepreneurs from the state of Kentucky. Like Brian mentioned, Lee Todd is in that group. And we're really proud of that program and just being able to spread the word of how entrepreneurship really has impacted our state and how it's going to continue to do that through these individuals. One of my favorite programs is Five Across. So if you've ever seen Shark Tank, think Shark Tank plus a pep rally. Put those two together, and it is our pitch competition that we've also been doing since 2010. We take 5 companies 5 times a year, and they get to pitch in front of a live judge panel and an audience of about 200 to 300 people. And it's a fun environment, but the purpose of it is for them to just get their feet wet, to learn how to share their company, their startup, and get those connections that they need to continue growing. And then the Awesome Fund was started in 2023, and this is a $5 million fund where now Awesome Inc. can now give back into some of those startups and give them some investment to continue to grow and just help the state of Kentucky altogether. This is kind of a zoomed out view of how a company can go through all of the programming at Awesome Inc. I'm not going to talk about every single one, but to maybe help you make it a little bit more clear, I'm going to tell you about a company that has gone through our pipeline successfully, and we're really encouraged by that. And so the goal for Awesome Inc. Really is to have a company go through this pipeline all together. That's something that we've talked about as a team for the past 15 years. Is we would love to see a company from its early stages all the way to becoming an inductee into the Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame. And that hasn't happened yet, but there are a lot of candidates and strong companies that are on their way to do that. And so Cloverleaf was started back in 2015, and they It's an online coaching program that helps teams and individuals in certain companies just learn more about themselves and how to work with each other. And it has a lot to do with AI now, since that has started. But Darren Murner and Kristen Moorfield back in 2015 started Cloverleaf. They're in Northern Kentucky. And in 2016, they participated in the Fibercross pitch competition, which is one of the entry points into our pipeline. Soon after that, they received some funding through a baby angel fund called Cherub Fund that was started by Awesome Inc. So that they were able to get some help through that. They got $10,000. They kept going. They got into our fellowship program that next year, and they were in that for 1 year. And that is where they got very individualized coaching and mentorship and a lot of free resources that helped them continue to grow. Fast forward, and back in 2021, they were honored at the Kentucky Entrepreneurial Hall of Fame as an emerging entrepreneur. And so we're really proud of the success that we've seen since they've come to us in 2016, and just encouraged by all the hard work that they've done. Since their conception, they have raised $21 million to date, and have given a lot of people jobs in Kentucky. And so we're really proud of that, and we're encouraged to see where they go from here. I just want to shout out a few metrics from some of our programming. So we have helped over 700 startups in our existence. We have created over 780 jobs in the state of Kentucky through some of those fellowship accelerator programs. They have hired almost 800 people, and they have raised to date over $155 million in the state of Kentucky. So we are really proud of that. I'm now going to pass it off to Mackenzie, and she's going to talk a little bit about how we are working with the Kentucky Cabinet and the grant.
Perfect. Thank you, Emily. And thank you all for allowing us this space where we can talk about the work that we do and tell the stories of the people that are impacted by it. I wanted to start here on this slide and show you this graphic, but I also want to remind you that the work that we do is far beyond the highlighted counties that are here. That's why we wanted to be here and talk to you all, because you all are touching and working with and impacting the communities across Kentucky, and we are too. But we wanted to give you a little bit of additional information. So we're a startup company. We were started by founders who were willing to bootstrap funding to create a space for other founders to have a space where they could feel like they weren't alone in their journey. And we're really proud of that. That is kind of the startup way. And so when we started doing the work that we were doing, we had a very small amount of funding, and we made a lot of really wonderful things happen and supported a lot of great companies. Because we had that success, we were able to gain some additional funding from the Cabinet for Economic Development, where they said, hey, you did a lot with a little, let's see what happens next. And then with that little bit of investment, we were able to increase our team a little bit, but our impact a great deal. Then, about 6 years ago, we proved that we could take on more. And so we were named an Innovation Hub, and we were given a larger grant to support Central Kentucky. So through how Brian and Emily have discussed, we're here for this whole state, but through the Partnership for the Cabinet for Economic Development, we've been able to deepen our impact, and we're coming alongside the entrepreneurial communities from Central Kentucky. And now, as we're having the opportunity to touch more parts of the state, we're able to come along the communities throughout this area that's highlighted in red and pour additional support into those economic areas and into those entrepreneurial communities so that they can take the next steps that they need to take to help better their community and help grow their business. And I want to tell you a story about another group that we have been able to impact. So there's a company called Forecaster that was founded in 2018 by Stephen Plappert from Louisville and Logan Burchett from Nicholasville in Jessamine County. They pitched at 5 Across in 2019 and then went on to compete and grow through TechStars, which is an accelerator program out of the state of Colorado. They came back to Kentucky and joined our fellowship program where they gained additional mentorship. Then, ever since, they've been growing their business and forming partnerships with companies like Microsoft and Carta. Their company supports entrepreneurs and startups across Kentucky and across the country, and they employ 40 individuals in Louisville. Last year, Stephen and Logan were inducted into the Kentucky Hall of Fame as emerging entrepreneurs. So again, as we mentioned earlier, we can't wait for someone to get that ultimate inductee into the Hall of Fame, but right now we are seeing some really great emerging entrepreneurs. Their work in partnership is extremely valuable to startups across the Commonwealth, and we're really proud that they started in an area that we were supporting, moved outside of an area we're supporting, and now they are supporting the entire state through the resources that they provide for startup companies. So I wanted to give you all this diagram to show you a little bit about the work that we're doing with the Cabinet for Economic Development Partnership. We have two main areas that we're able to focus on this year, and that's one of the reasons why I was able to join this part of our team and work through our partnership program. So if you want to go and switch. But I like this version better. I like to show you all this version of our partners that are across the state of Kentucky so that you can learn a little bit about us. So we have two main areas that we're going to be focusing on with this grant cycle. We're going to be focusing on our new partnerships because we believe in the power of collaboration, and we're going to be continuing to pour into our existing partnerships that are making leaps and bounds for Kentucky companies. So first, with our new partnerships and our new collaborations, we're going to be pouring into rural communities and providing them resources and opportunities to expand entrepreneurship. We're partnering with the Small Business Development Corporation, which you can see is all across the state of Kentucky. And they're going to be providing entrepreneurs coaching, resource development, access to capital, and training. Lastly, we're going to be focusing very heavily on pouring into entrepreneurship efforts into our universities. So you can see a couple of the different universities that you all might have attended, you've gone to a meeting at, you've spoken at, or you've celebrated. We've heard from some of our mentors that you can't necessarily teach entrepreneurship, but you sure can kill it. We want to be a voice that's going the opposite direction. We know that colleges are a great space to share ideas and share knowledge, and we know that's one of the reasons why our Kentucky students are going to colleges. So we want to meet them there, where they're excited, where they're learning, and where they're collaborating to pour in grassroots efforts to help them accelerate their entrepreneurship clubs and give them opportunities to get mentorship, actual practice being entrepreneurs, and the community that's necessary to gain funding and launch businesses now and in the future. So those are some of the new things that we're going to be doing with this grant. I also want to tell you a little bit about the strengthening impact that we're going to be having because of this additional funding that we got from the cabinet. We have two strong continuing partners that we are really excited about. The first one is Base Here. It's a co-working space that was designed to provide entrepreneurs and creatives a place to come together and collaborate. Their space, along with our space, provides a variety of options to get entrepreneurs out of their spare bedroom down the hall and into a space where they can actually talk to real people, and they can have those opportunities to meet with other collaborators and other builders. We're also very excited about our partnership with the Middle Tech Podcast. So the Middle Tech Podcast has been around for about 6 years and just celebrated 300 episodes. When they were created, they knew that we had a lot of really great things happening in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, but we were having a really hard time helping other people know that that was happening. So when they started, they had a focus on founders, innovators, and startups. And because of the work they've done, because of the reach that they've had, we've had many different Kentucky companies be able to reach beyond our borders for funding and for investments and for talent. So now with over 300 episodes, we're able to start celebrating those direct impacts that this organization has had on Kentucky startups. So we are grateful for the support that the Cabinet for Economic Development has in trusting us to grow the startup community and pour extra support into the counties in the highlighted area that was on the previous slide. And we're thankful for you all and your support to help us make Kentucky a better place to do business. Brian?
Yeah, thanks, Mackenzie. Great job. So a few next steps and just ways that we would love for you to get more engaged in the entrepreneurial community and some of the work that we're doing out of Awesome Inc. is, well, first off, come visit us. If you're ever in Lexington, we're right on Main Street. We'd love to give you a tour of our space and show you around some of the inner workings of Awesome Inc. If you know of promising startups in your areas, your districts, refer them to us. We want to help them. That is why we exist, is to help grow those startups. Same thing goes for any partners. If there are university contacts or other entrepreneur support organizations that you can think of, we would love to be connected to those organizations as well. We'd love to have you come attend some of our events. So upcoming in the next month or so, we have a few events. One of them is our Fellowship Demo Day. So Emily talked about this flagship accelerator program that we have called the Awesome Fellowship. And at Demo Day, you'll get to see the companies present that are going through that program. We also have the Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame ceremony coming up on November 12th. That is at the Central Bank Center. That is just a celebration of entrepreneurship where we will be inducting 5 new inductees. Some of the most successful entrepreneurs from the state will be in attendance, previous inductees as well as the incoming inductees that will be honored this year. And lastly, just help us expand our work by connecting to any of the other committees that are here meeting in Frankfurt. If there is something that you think is relevant that we share today that should be shared with another committee, then please let us have that opportunity. That is all that we have for you all. We are happy to answer any questions if you have them, or if you have any comments or thoughts. But you can see our email addresses are on this slide here. Would be happy to follow up with you guys via email, or you can go to our website and you can get more contact information at awesomeinc.org.
Thank you all so much for the very informative presentation. I will encourage members. I did get a tour of the of Awesome Inc., and it is a really cool setup. It is awesome. And the best thing, Representative Pollock, is at every table there's Oreo double stuffed cookies, which I'm sure would entice you also, Representative Pollock, to make the tour to Awesome Inc. But very nice. We do have some members with some comments or some questions. Representative All.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for coming today. Thank you for your presentation. I want to kind of back you up in some of your statements and what you said here.
Thank you.
I'm a representative for UK and University of Kentucky and a big chunk of Lexington. I've actually worked out of your offices downtown a couple of times with some friends of mine, and previously actually worked for one of your companies that started out of Awesome Inc. So I really appreciate what you all have done, and a lot of times we get presentations about up and coming companies and ideas or things that might work out that could help the Commonwealth. You guys are doing it. You're putting into work, because I have actually sent people your way and I've gotten nothing but positive feedback, and really some of these folks were from other metro areas. I'm not going to name those metro areas, but they said there's nothing like what we have in Lexington with Awesome Inc. like they have in their hometown. So I would highly encourage anybody here who has not had the opportunity. It's very visible. It is awesome. It does stand out. You're going right down Main Street. The way I come, it's on the left, going towards Rupp Arena in that area. So I appreciate what you all are doing, and keep it up. And if we can help in any way, be happy to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir. Representative McPherson.
Yes, just a comment. We was looking at the map here, and Representative All, I said, I see a lot of universities on there. I don't see WKU. WKU, maybe they are, maybe they're not. They have an innovation center down there where the old mall apartments or old mall used to be down there. And I think the only thing that you have to, invited to come into space, you just have to, if you're there, you'll be willing to share your information and stuff with all the other companies. But I didn't know if y'all ever reached out, or there was a way to get all of that together and have more synergy there also. So
No, absolutely. We'd be more than happy to work with WKU, and if you have any contacts there, please refer them to us. I think the universities that you see listed here, we had to limit, just for this graphics purpose, to be the ones that were in our service areas for the grant that Mackenzie was talking about. But we do work with other universities. We work with NKU. We work with U of L. We've done stuff at Pikeville University, done some coding exercises there. Would love to get connected to WKU even further. So thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Pollock.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and looking forward to this tour that I'm getting to go on. So my question is, I need to know a little bit more information on Five Cross. Is it Five Cross?
Five Across?
Five
yes.
Across. I'm a Shark Tank kind of guy, and so can you tell us about that event a little bit more? dates and that sort of
We
thing?
sure can. I'm going to let Emily take that because she is the program director of Five Across. So.
Yes. It was not my idea, but I took it on when I came in. So Five Across happens 5 times a year. It kind of falls every other month. So February, April, June, August, October, where 5 companies each event come together and pitch against each other. There's a winner from that event, so they get a small prize package. They get $500, and then they get a chance to compete in the finals, which is in December. And so we're actually, next week, we have our 5th event on October 30th in Lexington, where the final 5 companies get their chance to make it to the finals. And they will pitch against the 4 winners that have previously won earlier this year. And so it's a mix of startup companies. So a lot of them have a tech background, but some of them do focus more on physical products. It's a wide variety. It's a statewide program, so we'll take any company throughout the state of Kentucky. And that map actually shows a lot of our partners, and they refer companies to us for the application process to get them selected. So that's really helpful. And then the winners in December, they win $5,000 cash and then a $50,000 investment with our partners from Key Horse Capital. And so that gives them a really good opportunity to take that and grow, excel their growth really quickly in the future. So it's been going on since 2010. So we're really proud of that.
Where's that October 30th location?
It is downtown in the Pam Miller Arts Center. So I'd love to follow up with you, and I can give you that information.
Okay, awesome.
And a free ticket too, because we'd love
Mr.
to
Chair,
have you
one
join
more
us.
question,
Please
please.
proceed.
What do you see, kind of in a nutshell? Do you see more technology entrepreneurs? Do you see more retail? Can you share a little bit about what you see?
Yeah, we certainly see a little bit of everything through the different programming that we have at Awesome Inc. We have an emphasis on the high tech and high growth sector of entrepreneurship. That's my background. That's a lot of my co-founders' backgrounds. And that's also where we believe that given the right investment profile and the right tools, that Kentucky startups can see a whole lot of really good returns. The companies, for example, that you're starting to see inducted into the Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame, more and more of those founders are in that high growth, high tech sector. But we see all different types of companies. Five Across, as an example, that pitch competition last month, we had a wide mix of companies, some that were technology based, some that were insurance focused, there was a hot sauce company that pitched, I think, at the August edition of Five Across. So we definitely see some retail and some other spaces as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Last question I'll ask, and we'll move on. In terms of the Governor's School for Entrepreneurship, I know we've got the GSP program, the Governor's School for the Arts. Are you all doing anything in that space for young, middle up high school students?
Yes, we partner with GSE. We've partnered with them for many years now. We offer a few different partnership packages, I guess, to them. One we will go to them often most years, and we will teach them some coding, like basics of like how to develop your website for your company or how to develop a mobile app. So we do a workshop with them on coding. We also invite them to Awesome Inc., and they typically will come and spend a day kind of taking a tour, learning a little bit about our programming, and we try to line that up with a Five Across pitch competition, so then they will all get a free ticket and come to Five Across. It's usually the June event because that's when GSE is in session.
Great. We always are looking at return on investment here as policymakers. Thank you for the work that you're doing out there in the Commonwealth and doing an awesome job at that. Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Next on our agenda today is someone that needs really no introduction. He was in the halls of Frankfort quite a bit last session. I think most of us know Eric Hubbard, the Executive Director of Backroads of Appalachia, who's going to be giving us an update. Eric, it's great to see you back here in Frankfort, and you may know the routine. Microphone in front of you. If you just hit that, and the green light will appear. Introduce yourself for the record, and you may proceed.
My name is Eric Hubbard, Executive Director of Backroads of Appalachia. I'm here today. I was asked to come. Monday, I got the phone call. I was in North Carolina running heavy equipment, helping our fellow Appalachians out. When I have free time lately, I have a lot of unique skills that most people don't, and I try to apply them to help for the common good. So with that being said, let's get started. Before I get started with this, the most important thing I want to leave here, and I want you to leave with your mind, is that wherever I may roam, Eastern Kentucky will always be my home. And I take it to my heart, and I put it in my daily effort every day. Our nonprofit, Community First, Racing Second, but most importantly, Motorsports Second. We bring economic growth to Appalachia co-towns and communities in need of, and through all forms of motorsports. I take great pride in this, and so much I can announce today that the American Rally Association is redirecting their whole national series on the formula of Backroads of Appalachia, investing in community and getting community outreach to continue to do what they love and their passion. That's going to be a huge economic growth for not just Eastern Kentucky, but for all rural areas of the United States. Area. This is a little wrong. I just noticed that, but I'll go ahead and pitch it anyway. We're a one-day drive from 2/3 of the populations. Eastern Kentucky, Kentucky as a whole, we are the hub. We are the center, and that's something that we, of course, I see what they're doing. Louisville, Lexington. It's always been that grab to bring people to here. Well, now we have something with motorsports and motorsport tourism that's drawing people to Eastern Kentucky, and I just think that's amazing. But right now, through our mobile application and our website, thanks to the USDA and people buying T-shirts, we're able to create 56 routes, and we're still growing on that to give people destinational experiences inside their motorcycle, car, family minivan, whatever it may take. But we want them to get them out and about. Most important things I want people to do is I want to get them tired, thirsty, and hungry on a long drive or ride where they're going to hand their little town and they're going to spend their hard-earned money, and that's our focal point. We have over 1,300 points of interest now that we highlight on a pretty regular basis, driving people to them towns. Of course, I take great pride in this, me being a military guy. I'm the tip of the spear for you. I'm here to try to direct and change in a way that has a little bit of a twang to it and a little bit of a blue-collar work ethic. I don't care to work, and I think we're showing our efforts through this presentation what we've done to accomplish this year. I thought I hit the wrong button. What we do, motorsports, all day, every day. We have 3 key missions of our organization: economic development through motorsports. We support transition and recovery, and we also support all local mom and pop businesses, and we take great pride in our mission. Highlights for the year, man, I'd be here way too long and everybody take a nap on me if I really went on the detail on what we done. But from competition to exhibits to film documentaries, it's been one heck of a year for us to remember, and it's been made every twist and turn. The big thing is what Senator Wise mentioned was me and beating the halls last year through legislation. House Bill 29, game changer. And, I can't even not wait for the economic impact report to come out to show, thanks to you, what we're able to develop and create now. I'm not going to show all the videos because, again, you're welcome to go there. Just type in Backroads of Appalachia, where you want to go, you're going to see it. But take great pride. We had the first ever legal toge event inside of Commonwealth of Kentucky and West Virginia. We had 4 total events this year. Toge, it means mountain pass in Japan. Everything I do is about demographics, numbers, social media outreach to try to lure people here. Nothing brings our youth, brings people, gets more engaged than what a drift event will do. And I'm going to show a quick little clip and I'll move on. So with that, Drift Appalachia is something we came up with. Next year, I'm proud to say that we're going into something called competition drift. The number one motorsport right now in the United States is called Formula Drift. They're terrified of us because they're doing it on a racetrack. We're bringing something that where Tokyo Drift for all your kids or grandkids watch Fast and Furious. We're doing it legally now inside the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We can take a mountain curvy road like we just done recently in Buckhorn, Kentucky. We sold out a state park for 4 days, and we went to the downtown Hazard, and we raised money for Buckhorn School to make sure they had playground equipment after the flood. With that, we had people come in from Australia and England and Germany that flew their cars over here to be part of this iconic, all about their presentation of social media and their sponsors. So up next, what we done, which is the hardest thing on the planet, including being in the military, and it will not let me shift keys. What do I do here?
Just 1 second, Eric.
Okay. But while we're waiting on this, I can continue on. The American Rally Association, the Boone Forest Rally, it will become a national event as of next year. We was able this year, thanks to House Bill 29, to tie in the Daniel Boone National Forest, Jackson County, Rockcastle County, and Lee County to put on a national event, a national expectation. How do I go to the next one? Oh, it's got to run us through. Well, now you're going to have to watch all the videos. I'm sorry. Oh. Yeah, go ahead. Just sit with me. How's that? You be my wing person. All right. Thank you. So what I take great pride in with the rally car racing is the most important thing. We have Green APU, which now has announced their investment inside Bowie County, creating 165 jobs. I met them through a rally car race 5 years ago. Polish descent, Polish work ethic that loves Kentucky, or as they say, Kentucky. But, you know, they see the working class we have here, the coal miners, the steel workers. They're headquartered in Lamont, Illinois, and I really see Lamont, Illinois in the future closing down and headquarters moving to Kentucky. With that also being said, just got a huge win. A rally team from Argentina, Porto Villa Rally, has now landed in London, Kentucky. Their race cars are already inside a shop. They're leasing a building, and they are moving 6 people from Argentina to be able to do rally cars and build rally cars in the United States market. And my deal with them was once a month you're going to feed me, to make it happen. And the most important thing, I can't go into too much detail as of yet, but one of the biggest things in motorsports will be coming to Eastern Kentucky. As of yesterday, a contract was signed and funding was delivered to be able to hire 36 Appalachians and put them on the world stage in rally competition. And when you hear me screaming, wherever you might be, loud in the sky, you know what that's for. But with that being said, Connor Martell, Team Kentucky, rally car, just raced in Minnesota, placed second in Minnesota, won air race. But he takes so great pride, and he can't wait to become an Eastern Kentuckian. And that's what it's all about, freedom, expression, and going fast. So here we go.
Or maybe second on the road.
Wow, you pulled him on a good time. Let's start at the beginning about his shirt off. How's that? That's how you sell credits right there.
Average speed is a bit lower than expected. Oh, good to see you.
Definitely some tricky sections, very fast, and then some tight technical stuff, and some good spots to get some air. There's a couple spots that'll be pretty good.
Narrow, gravelly, they have patches of tarmac which are great. Looking forward to drive those at speed.
Sorry shakedown went pretty well. We were first on the, or maybe second on the road, so it wasn't swept. We basically swept it, but felt super comfortable in the car right away. The car had a little bit of push in the front end, so my Greek homie Michael did some tunage on it and got the back of the car a little bit more free, so feel really comfortable with the car. I think we did like 5 or 6 runs, so me and Alex are ready for tomorrow, and I feel good.
Getting ready for the start of the first rally. Mine and the first rally for Connor also in the States. I haven't done a rally for 12 years, and that's definitely a very nice, exciting time for me. The first rally in the States for me.
How's the car?
The car is ready.
Say some lunch. We got Park Expose. We'll leave at 12:45, and then first stage starts at 2. 2 we leave here.
So it's a very long, but it's a documentary of the entire event. But what we done is so special with the Boone Forest Rally. We tied in every morning and every evening. The requirement for the race teams was they had to visit a community and stay at least an hour and have a show around that to bring out people. I want to get kids high on cars, not on drugs. When we talk to our youth, and what I instill in our motorsport community is that we don't need to talk about just going fast. We need to talk about math, science, and engineering. That's the important factors, I believe, that in Eastern Kentucky and in Kentucky as a whole, after got a little bit of an argument with some pretty high ups at a university about, we should take back pride of engineering, and, you know, especially for Eastern Kentucky, because we're the people that build America. And, you know, we need to bring back that mentality of innovative thinking to be able to create cultural change for my region and our people. But last but not least, a real quick thing of Bell County, Kentucky. It has now been deemed the Pikes Peak of Appalachia and also the East Coast. This is our 6th year of doing the SCCA Appalachian Hill Climb. Total economic impact for Bell County and the city of Pineville in the past 6 years is right around $17.4 million. We're bringing in over 100 race cars in and they rent out all the state park, they rent out all the Airbnbs, and they go into Middlesboro for hotels. But their purpose is clear. 1 minute apart, by themselves, they're going as fast as possible up old 2-lane mountain road. And I think that, you know, bringing that kind of cultural change in a controlled environment is very, very good for our region. Thank you. You're the best. Yes. I think I can. No more videos unless you can make it click to the next. There you go. Oh, I'm sorry. We do got one more. The most important thing of today I want you to take away from, and I'm sorry if I'm taking too much of your time, but I think this is too important not to share. The Appalachian application. A film not asked for Kentucky money to do, not asked for no kind of tax credits, nothing like that. Green APU's excitement of becoming Eastern Kentuckians and Appalachians. They did a video when we worked the city of Catlettsburg and Bowie County Physical Court to work out to close the city down to do a video. And at the end, you will see that his whole purpose, a Polish descendant living in Chicago, Illinois, attending the University of Chicago, dream and drive is to become an Appalachian, hence the Appalachian application. So I think this is very important. Thank you. And then you start from. Thank you.
This was a big place at one time. Now we're little. Yeah, but it's quiet. It's peaceful. Hardly any crime. It's a good town.
Hey Pat, Green APU is expanding into Kentucky, but before they'll let you in, they want you to prove you can wheel a cow as good as the moonshiners of the past. So I think it's time you put on a little show.
You got it, boss.
They're not going to be happy about that.
No, they are not. Perhaps on round 2.
We can watch it all day, but I just want to go about to show the application process. And that's County Judge Eric Cheney, if anyone does not know. That's good. Now next. So with that being said, when I grew up, I was told to leave, get out. That was what I was told by my high school teachers, my local community. There's no hope here, leave. Let's fast forward, with a lot of weight and a lot of gray beards in me now, that we actually got people taking pride and spend their own money to become Appalachians. That's life-changing, that's game-changing. And for the motto for our youth of Eastern Kentucky, and not just Eastern Kentucky, but our region and our state, we should take great pride in that we're actually, what everybody's looked down for since the downturn of coal, now they're looking up at us because we have the most important natural resources for things I love to do. What makes rally car racing and all the motorsports so special for Eastern Kentucky is really clear. We already have a bedrock underneath our roads. The maintenance costs to be able to repair roads like across the nation that uses sandstone is so much cheaper. So there's more opportunities and more events that can be done inside our region because of that. It's all about the bottom line, just like anything else in life inside motorsports. So with that being said, I'm going to continue on. We are this close. I'm going to say it again. Representative Fugit, this close. Receiving $8.6 million from the Appalachian Regional Commission, a 3-state initiative called the Appalachian Overland Triangle. $5.5 million is going to be invested inside the world or the country's poorest county, Owsley County, Kentucky. Thanks to you and your contribution as a match, gave us the opportunity to do that. This weekend, starting tomorrow night, putting it to the test, we have the 24 Hours of Appalachia, something we done in West Virginia, and I wanted to bring it to Kentucky for the final finale for the year. They have 24 hours and street legal side-by-sides, adventure motorcycles, and also overlanders, Jeeps, and all of that. We have 137 people, or 137 teams registered for this, where they have 24 hours to complete 468 miles of waypoint mapping, just like military, no using GPS, and start in Booneville, Kentucky, and finish in Booneville, Kentucky. The gas alone that will be spent through our 24 hours is going to be amazing for all of our little communities. And I look forward to it. What we're doing with that, we don't never charge the entry fee with things like this. We're asking for a donation, not the Backroads of Appalachia. We're asking for a donation to the Owsley County Volunteer Fire Department. What I see in the world of motorsports, especially in the littler towns, is radio communication. If a disaster happens again, like what happened in Eastern Kentucky or what has happened in Western North Carolina, these counties' radios don't work together. I see that as a huge problem for us to be able, in case of a disaster that ever does occur. And this is my way of being able to combat that through what I love to do. And so say a prayer for us, say a prayer for the participants, because West Virginia might be wild and wonderful, but Eastern Kentucky is rougher than they could ever imagine. And that's what I warned everybody. And they wanted to start at nighttime, not in daytime. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of happy wreckers out there making an economic impact and development to their sales for picking them up. So with that, next is, of course, our community efforts. When the flood hit, it struck home. I was one of the first with Senator Smith that we, went and helped out him some and helped out others all over Eastern Kentucky. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. When, my worst experiences of my combat environment, what I grew up with in military, it was all threw away when I, as far as nothing mattered compared to when I had to see an 80-year-old woman be helicoptered in for an Eastern Kentuckian that was naked. Her clothes was washed away. It wasn't about how bad the situation was. It wasn't about nothing. It was about her embarrassment of not having clothing on, and she just wanted a blanket to cover herself. PTSD, emotional trauma, has nothing on that day right there I had with her. So with that being said, as soon as the flood happened, we went to work. Eastern Kentucky did not get impacted as much as North Carolina. I've been on the ground. I've seen it. I was running equipment when cadaver dogs was hitting in the mud so we could dig out bodies. It's traumatic. But with that being said, our organization has done multiple things. We went food drives, clothing drives, then we went to heater generator drives, and now we're doing supplies. But what I'm able to do with my background as a heavy equipment mechanic and old Eastern Kentucky coal miner family that grew up on heavy equipment, I was able to go whenever I had the ability, which has been about 17 days so far, 16 days, driving up to Asheville, headquartering there and running equipment, helping the community out and telling them that Eastern Kentucky and Kentucky as a whole loves them. And I think that there's no amount of money that can go away when you have someone that's in a devastation event just telling them, showing them love, but it's not just telling them love, So that's what it's all about. Next up, our national efforts, what we done for 2024. We've been around the country, bike weeks. Of course, we are car and motorcycles. So thanks to the Appalachian Regional Commission, we were able to receive funding for a travel trailer and also a big full-size diesel truck. And we go where the traffic's at. I don't believe in going to trade shows. I don't believe going into, these, no disrespect to no one in tourism, these little communities where you put a tent up and you sit there and talk to people in your own state to come here. It makes no sense. But we go where the action's at. And how we can prove that is our next slide, is that what we've done for the past 3 years is working. And with that being said, if I can hit the right button, Hannah's going to fire me. Our events, we had over 127 events this year. I'm tired. I can't wait for winter so I can take a break. But throughout the region, we host and partnered in others to create realized motorsport events. Our dollars that we brought in and all the new faces to our region. People, of course, people bring dollars and sometimes new business to the region. As of right now, because we do track every person that we possibly can, because empirical data to report back to you and also to the federal government is my number one going job. We have over 37,000 visitors that's been confirmed and verified that has visited Eastern Kentucky. What I take greatest pride in when we started this 6 years ago, Eastern Kentucky was a one-day drive-through. We're a 3-day destination now. And I can prove that with our economic impact reports that's done by the University of Pikeville. I think that says a lot about what we have to offer is the economic formula of that. Last year in 2023, I did send to a lot of people on this committee. We brought in over $38 million to Eastern Kentucky after our economic impact study was certified. Our guesstimate right now, let me say it one more time, guesstimate, I know we're over 50 million, but I think we're going to be a lot higher than that. So impact by the numbers. We brought in 37,000 visitors so far this year. The average person on a motorsport trip spends $325 a day. Then you multiply that by the days and multiply it again by 7 because the money will be exchanged 7 times in Eastern Kentucky before it comes to Lexington, Pigeon Forge, Kingsport, Tennessee, or anywhere around. So the money will stay inside our region. That's how we get our formulas put together. We are averaging a 3-night room night stay when people are coming in. And I don't know where the over 80 room nights go, but I did the formula in the math the other night when we was putting this together. We have brought in over 3 months of destinations for people coming in, spending their money here. And I think that's truly amazing. And, of course, their estimated 24 impact is $50 million. Where we're headed, community development, thanks to our motorsport partners. We want to bring awareness to our region. Come and visit. I always hear Southern hospitality is a wonderful thing until people come and see Appalachian hospitality. You give me $20 million, and I could go put it on Facebook or Instagram or a TV film or whatever. But when people come and visit the Appalachian people, that's what I hear most of. That costs no money. That's word of mouth. They're the nicest people I've ever met. And, we just got to get them there so they could tell their friends to come back and spend their hard-earned money. As mentioned, we are working on the $8.6 million. I have one more call tomorrow morning with the ARC. It's kind of confusing because it's construction in 2 states, and they don't understand how to really put it together to make it work, but they keep telling me we're close to the finish line getting that award. One other thing I want to take great pride in, and also me, SOAR, everyone else I'll be calling you, is that we will be taking over Everett's, Kentucky, and Everett's High School. We have already changed it and branded it to Hope High, KY. Just Transition Fund believed in we was working on another project, and I saw what was going on inside the electric vehicle market, so I called and made a decision. Let me tell you about this other ideal I have. Peabody Cove, the town, is one of when Antarctica was going on and explorations for Antarctica, Admiral only wanted coal from Everett, Kentucky, for that exploration. So that's always meant something to me. But we have $250,000, and we're totally doing grant writing totally different than ever before. First and foremost, we're making a documentary. We're teaching other nonprofits how, from the beginning to the end, on what it takes to put a grant together. Getting the grant, like I always tell everybody, is the easy part. Implementing it and reporting on it is the hard part, following procurement. So this film and this documentary will be able to utilize for other nonprofits to help strengthen them. So when House Bill 9 comes around and they need some funds, they'll be ready and prepared for battle. So with that also being said, we have already had multiple conversations. I actually got a trip to Rosie Roads, Puerto Rico. And it's amazing what you can do with kudzu and hydrogen. I'll just leave it at that for now. We have also had conversations with the University of Louisville in the engineering school, or Speed School of Engineering, on potentially a small remote engineering campus inside Everett, Kentucky. And I hit the wrong button again, Hannah. I think that's really it anyway. No, one more. I'm sorry. One thing that at first I was kind of reluctant. I was getting pushed to it. Was Leadership Kentucky. Executive training. I was able to bring and be part of this program this year, and it's really became more of an eye-opener to me on how I should lead in a different environment. I, of course, come from blue-collar world. I come from an enlisted man leadership program, and then I went to the railroad where I was a blue-collar leader inside infrastructure of the railroad to now this forum. Leadership Kentucky has really instilled a lot into me and making me open up my mind even more to the possibilities, the travel through all of our great Commonwealth, and not just seeing the wonderful things, but also the nitty-gritty of all of our parts of our Commonwealth. It's given me many ideals and many visions on what we can become, not just for Eastern Kentucky, but what we can help drive all through our great state. So I think that this program is something I'd highly recommend to anyone in my situation or wanting to be in a situation. And last but not least, before I end this, 10 years ago, you told me the area cupboard would be sitting right here talking to all you senators and state representatives being called to come to Frankfort, Kentucky. I would say you're full of it, But it's so refreshing that someone like me that comes from the son of a paralyzed coal miner that was built and bred to work working 9 to 5, 7 to 4, whatever it was kind of job, to now take the reins for the Appalachian people and be able to represent them in a way that I think very few is able to do because I am one of them. I think it's very refreshing, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Eric, I'm first make a comment, then a request. I'm going to open it up to other members that may have questions or comments. First, my comment. I met you in Pikeville at the Senate Caucus Retreat, and I don't think I've met somebody as unique and as passionate and as persistent in what they're doing for the Commonwealth of Kentucky that I've seen you do. And on behalf of the Kentucky General Assembly, I thank you for everything that you're doing for Eastern Kentucky and for the Commonwealth. I did not know about you until John Cox with the Kentucky Chamber mentioned you. And that's when I met you that time in Pikeville. And I know that program has done tremendous and for so many opportunities.
Yes, sir.
But thank you for your heart. Thank you for your military service and everything you've done for Kentucky. My last thing is a request. When you're having that drift experience, we have a member up here who goes by the nickname Wheels. Now, he gets that honestly. With that, I would love nothing more than to see Senator Wheeler strapped in to one of those cars for a drift experience in the mountains of Eastern Kentucky.
Well, I'll leave that with you, Senator. He was invited.
I already have experienced that once in Ashland, Kentucky. Eric could probably scrounge up a video.
I would like to see video footage of that.
Yeah, and he got out grinning ear to ear, I have to say.
Awesome.
So
let's open up for other questions or comments. Representative Whitten.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Eric. This was such an interesting presentation. First, I want to thank you for the work that you're doing in North Carolina. My family has a home in Black Mountain. A lot of people don't understand how devastating that it's been. So I just want to thank you for showing them our Kentucky care and hospitality.
Yes, ma'am.
But I had a question. When you're just some details. When you said it's a closed course, and I'm assuming that the people that live in the town appreciate you being there, but is there any trouble with them not being able to use their roads while you're?
Well, first and foremost, before I pick an area, I go talk to the people. I'm a door knocker. For the Boone Forest Rally, we was running on county roads, not just national forests. I knocked on 273 doors, and I tried 4 times to get a hold of them people. And I left letters and had the opportunity to all the people I did talk to. We did no issues at all, and they're begging for us to bring it back because where else can you go that you have a racetrack that comes by your house? We do put safety as our priority. Anything we do with the American Rally Association, the most demanding motorsport in the world is rally car racing because everywhere else is done pretty much on a track. That's put me in an advantage now for what we're doing as an organization. I am a proud member of the American Rally Association. Safety, traffic control plans, our emergency management plans, volunteers, training our volunteers, and I take most pride of training my volunteers. the best volunteers I ever had was people that's already in recovery. They're very ambitious. They want the opportunity, but they also want to be the opportunity to feel like part of a unique team. And a lot of these volunteers in recovery don't get to see one car race by. They don't care. They're part of Team Kentucky for that weekend, and I think that's just the coolest thing. And with that being said, at the end of that, with the people in recovery, the guys and the gals, they might go get beer at night. I love beer too. I'm not going to deny that. But I do take our people in recovery, and we do pizza parties because I want them to feel just like they're part of a team without giving them the opportunity or the chance to even have a lapse time back into where they come from. So I take with our communities, again, community first, racing second. Yes, ma'am.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this. This was a really fun presentation. I loved what you said about giving kids something to look forward to and something to see themselves grow up into. And I'll tell you that works. I haven't been able to park in my garage for the last 4 years because my husband grew up in Detroit where they did Formula One on the road. And so now the race car takes up the garage. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how this can grow in the future and some barriers to growth that we might be able to help you with as the legislature. And so especially where the rally cars go, I think those are probably going to be the fastest of the motorsports that you've brought to us today. They're going to move into the electric realm. So are you finding that there are enough charging stations in places for this to continue to grow? Is that something we might be able to help you with in the future?
Well, with rally car racing, I don't see electric cars being part of rally car racing in the long-term future due to the fact that if a fire does break out inside National Forest, that's the biggest fear. Actually, the World Rally Championship just walked away from the hybrid models and went back to petroleum-based only because of that fear of combustion. What we are working on, and I was actually at Kentucky Speedway yesterday. I was asked by Senator Funky Fromeyer to last year to go up and if I ever find something to bring something back to Kentucky Speedway. Rally X, which is European, had people from Switzerland and Poland meet me yesterday, and we toured that. Rally X is electric and gas power cars. But as far as electrical charging stations of all of Eastern Kentucky, absolutely not. There's not. I would love to have something myself, the new F-150 Lightning for a lease right now of $299, but I would have to have a generator with it all the time for the electric charging stations of Eastern Kentucky.
Senator Funky Fromeyer.
Well, from DeMossville to Appalachia, I just want to thank you because I'm one of those kids, too, that made it out of the valley, and who knew?
Yep.
But recognizing you have brought a blessing to a place that just definitely seemed to be in destitute, and now you're given new hope, new energy, new ideas, and I truly thank you for that, Eric.
Thank you.
It was this time last year that I met you for the first time, and thank you, Wheels, for bringing him here. But recognizing that you're giving some potential hope to a vacated facility in northern Kentucky. We have underutilized assets, and as you have ideas, thank you for bringing them forward to us, but thank you for getting some people on tour. I didn't realize you were going to mention it today, but thank you.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to put you on the bus there.
Never a problem. I love being accountable, but that's not even my Senate district.
Yeah.
But it affects all of us,
Yeah.
and the work you're doing affects all of Kentucky, and I just truly want to thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Representative Dotson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank you for the presentation today, Mr. Hubbard. I'm a Pike County boy myself. I'm from over in Phelps, and if I'm correct, I think you married a girl from Phelps.
Yeah, I heard a mouthful on the way out today, so yes, sir.
Well, I just got on Facebook to make sure. I'm like, I've seen this guy somewhere before, and I got on there. I'm like, yeah, this is him.
Yeah.
So anyway, welcome to Frankfort today, and I want to thank you for coming. Being an Eastern Kentucky mountain boy, I had to get out. There wasn't much option there, so I went to the military. And so it just really stirs my spirit to see like yourself coming here and others that with the trail riding systems and things that are taking place to revitalize Eastern Kentucky. And just want to commend you on the work that you're doing. And, you have access to us to be able to do whatever, remove any barriers that need to be removed. Because after the coal industry has kind of bottomed out there, when I cross from Kemper Mountain over into Phelps, it says, "Welcome to Phelps." It's like going from a black and white a color television to a black and white television.
Yep.
And it seemed like people have lost a lot of hope back in the mountains. So these little sparks right here can revitalize our communities. And I want to thank you for the work that you've done. And please tell Brooke I said hello.
I'll do that. And next time you're up that way, call me. I'll give you some Hornets.
Representative Fugit.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Eric, excuse me, I want to thank you for all that you're doing at Backroads of Appalachia. I don't remember the exact year, 2019 maybe, when I met you, and he was doing the cars on the Little Shepherd Trail at Kingdom Come State Park, which was part of my district at that time in Harlan County. And I remember watching those cars. I was like, man alive. You don't have to worry about dying if they went over the mountain from the crash when they stopped, because they'd starve to death before they got to the bottom. But running 90 and 100 mile an hour on Little Shepherd Trail, 1-lane road. And so they're like, being a state police officer, I enjoyed driving a cruiser from time to time, 55 or 60 mile an hour. And so they asked me, do you want to ride in the car? I said, absolutely, I want to ride in the car. And so I tried to get in the car, and I was too big for the car. So I had to get out. And but man, since that weekend, what a difference you've made in East Kentucky, and not just Harlan County, but from Boyd County all the way to Laurel County, everywhere in between. My heart is really glad for Owsley County because of the opportunities you're bringing there, being my district and being known as the poorest county in the world, and that must be pertain to money, because when you meet the people, they're absolutely not the poorest people in the country. They're probably the richest, because they're appreciative of everything that's done for them, and they work hard. The local government officials work so hard to make things happen there, and so it's one of the greatest places.
Absolutely.
And so thank you for your work. I appreciate you. I love you, man. I'm thankful for all that you've done for all of East Kentucky, and so just keep it up. And I'm on your team, and whatever you need from me, you got it.
Well, with that being said, and Representative Fugit hit a good point I forgot to mention. There's a social media guy which sent me a cease and desist letter, by the way. So I told him I know lawyers too, so let's just go if you want to go. He come into Owsley County, and he's the one that deemed it, thanks to our census and our numbers, the poorest county in America. And he makes a lot of money off picking the worst people in the environment to highlight them. And the city of Booneville, Kentucky, and Chris can vouch for this, and I encourage anyone to make a drive up there. It's transformed in a year and a half. It's amazing what the county and city officials and the volunteers have redeveloped that town, and that's why I believe 24 Hours Appalachia, why I wanted it there. But what he's able to combat against that, from beginning roots where the first rally car race, I was working overtime to pay the debt on it because there's no money in that. But the economics for Harlan County was huge, to now where I could pick up a phone and call a friend of mine, bring me a film crew, and come to Booneville, Kentucky, where we combated against him, and we called it the richest county in America. And we were able to do it, and I was held back some. I'm still learning, but I just wanted to call him straight out and tell him what I thought of him on, the video. But I still hurt him enough that he wanted to send me a nice little letter back. But this is what I'm ready to do with our organization with these high-ranking social media influencers, which don't ask me what that – we get a paycheck too for social media, and that blows my mind. But when they come to our people, our region, and also our state, I want to be able – we have the wheels down, the opportunity now, no pun intended, Mr. Senator Wheeler, but we're able to combat automatically against that in a positive manner. One thing that I feel that we're all lacking is someone to have the backbone to stand up against opposition. And, the old saying goes, you're going to get shot at if you're front line, and I'll gladly take a bullet for my state.
Representative Wesley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That just excited me. I appreciate you coming. That I love the presentation. Mr. Chairman, we have drifters back home where I live in eastern Kentucky. They drive like that all the time. And
grannies that drive like that.
Yes. So we would welcome you in the Powell County, Red River Gorge area. Mm-hmm. And we got a lot of mountain and terrain like that. So I just wanted to say that we would just enjoy you, and we appreciate what you're doing in Owsley County.
Yep.
That used to be my county before Representative Fugit took over, and they are just loving people. And I got to say that the people in Eastern Kentucky, they're the kind of people that always waves at you if you're a stranger and you're known as a honey or a sweetie.
Yep.
And so we just want to welcome everyone over in Owsley County this weekend. Thank you, sir.
We, with that being said, in Powell County, we did do a drift event off of Highway 11 in Slade this year. And the city of Stanton was a host, the old TV drive-in, and we was able to raise over $10,000 for the Girl Ignite program for them babies to be able to go to the beach for the first time. So that's what, again, community first. To see them youngins and their daddy's exhausted from the line of people buying hamburgers and hot dogs. But for us to be able to help fund them to go to Florida for the first time, some of these young ladies to go compete, what's it's all about. So thank you.
It brought in a lot of revenue to Powell County.
Ungodly amount.
Yes, sir.
So
our last comment or question is Representative Tackett Lafferty.
Eric, I just want to remind you that Representative Fugit, Jenny Wiley State Park has a beautiful drive around our lake as well. So.
I'm already working on that.
Thank you.
So, and congratulations on the big check I saw, by the way. So I'm glad to see the expansion.
Eric, once again, on behalf of us, thank you for the presentation today. Truly appreciate everything that you're doing for the Commonwealth. Before we do adjourn, I do want to introduce to my left on the front row down here our new analysts that are for the committee. So if any member has issues pertaining to constituent issues or also legislative issues, we do ask that you reach out to these three. If they would raise their hands, Christian Dieter, Austin Johnson, and Miss Matissa Robinson are all going to be with us this next legislative session. We look forward to working with each three of you as we work on policy for the Commonwealth. See no further agenda for today. We have motion.
We do have a calendar change for next month, correct?
Yes, 14th.
November 14th.
That is November 14th. Thank you, Representative King. That will be our date for next month's November meeting.